Waiting for it to start. Here we go. Hi, guys. Yay. I am Yolanda Harper with Harper Therapy. I am here today with Danyell Jones.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
So glad that we're here together today.
Yes. Another one of those lovely ladies that I love spending time with. Danyell and I actually met at a Tampa Housewives event months ago. And we were able to connect, and Danyell was able to share her passion about helping women have an understanding and be educated about finances.
Absolutely. So
stay with us. Stay with us. No, don't turn off the light.
No eye rolling, no kind of glazing over.
But it's so important because it's an area that, especially as women, we can have a lot. Well, I mean, just the emotional state. And when I touch base with you about coming live, you're like, yeah, there's so much emotion.
Money is emotion, right?
Yeah.
It stirs up these really intense feelings in us. It can make us incredibly happy. It can make us nervous. We can have tremendous worry about, do we not have enough? Or if we have too much, oftentimes we feel guilt. Are we doing the right things with it? Or money's full of emotion.
Yeah, it can be a huge trigger. Yeah. And I think especially, as women, there's so much culturally and societally, right, that goes into our relationships with money and our understanding of our finances. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely true. And I think what I'm pleased to say is that we've had a bit of a cultural shift, right?
Yeah, thankfully,
We've got women who are in the workforce. We've got women who are the primary breadwinner in the household, that kind of thing. But I do think that there's a little bit of a trickle-down effect or some things we may have perhaps inherited about money.
Yeah.
So oftentimes...
Because those emotional things stay pretty ingrained.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, especially in older generations, right, it was very common for the woman to not participate in the household finances, to perhaps not pay the bills or not know how much.
Not know anything about what's in the accounts, that kind of thing, kind of get an allowance or spending money.
Right. Yeah. Well, but the truth is, the women tend to outlive men.
Right.
So for every single woman out there, at some point in your life, you're going to have to kind of take ownership of this financial piece. So I think it's really important that people are educated so that they understand it and empowered and have a level of comfort with it. And if that's something I can kind of help get people to, then that's something that really excites me.
Awesome. Yeah. So what would you say for those, Diana, hey! What would you say would be some tips for women and kind of who are in that space of not having a good understanding of what's happening for them financially, maybe not even knowing how much money is in the bank or where money is going as far as bills or what is set aside for the future? I actually heard a statistic on the radio recently about how not just specifically for women, but how adults are giving more money to their adult children than they're putting away for retirement, like twice as much.
Right. So you and I tend to be in this really kind of interesting generation that's being tagged as the sandwich generation, right? We have aging parents that might require care. At the same time, we have children that are, at the age where they might need help, support, going to college. Young adult children, more children than ever moving back into the home instead of going out and being independent, which puts this kind of crosswise financial burden on people. But I think you asked, what are some steps that women can take? And I think the first step is, to just get an understanding. I know it can be painful, but just look at the numbers, do a simple inventory, see what you've got, see where you're at. What do I have in savings? What do I have in checking? What do I have in retirement?
Right.
And on the flip side of that, what do I owe?
And I think it's getting clear on those numbers and realizing that is the step to, reducing some of the anxiety. We don't look at the numbers because of the anxiety, because of the uncertainty, because of the fear that comes up. But it's like having that weird lump, right?
Right.
So you're like, I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to know, but not knowing doesn't make it go away.
Absolutely. It's this little thing and it just kind of, it eats at you. It's taking up space in your mind.
Right.
So for instance, you might know, oh, my credit card debt is out of control. Or you might know, oh, I'm, midway through my career and I haven't perhaps done what I need to do for retirement. And sometimes facing the level of debt that we're in or the fact that we perhaps haven't saved, it's so kind of painful and overwhelming that we say, oh, I just don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
But we've got this anxiety that it creates for us. So instead of that, and like I said, I know it can be challenging, but just taking a look at the numbers, I really feel is the first step.
It's a huge first step, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you need some professional support, right? Financially, emotionally, that takes some support, right? To say, yeah, this is something, and sometimes it's kind of the flip. Sometimes it's not as bad as what you built it to be in your mind.
Exactly. And here's where I really think that there's kind of a benefit. Like you said, you can call in some expert help, right? If you want to do it on your own, just simply collecting all the balances is something you could do as a first step. If you wanted to speak with someone like myself or another advisor out there, they can kind of guide you through the process. But I think where we begin to really see movement, right, where we can become empowered and positively impact change is when we know what we've got. So finally we can take a positive step forward to make it go in the direction we want it to go. Yeah. Whether that's paying down the debt or increasing savings.
Yeah, anytime that we can regain a sense of control or we realize that there are steps that we can take for ourselves, that is always a beneficial thing.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. What other tips would you give to the ladies out there?
So I think one of the things that I hear quite often is that I don't have enough money for an advisor or I just don't make enough. I'm not that kind of thing. And for me personally, it's really, really important that everyone, no matter where they're at, gets some kind of start. So there are a couple of things that I want to kind of give to people today.
Yeah, awesome.
So if you're at the point where you have perhaps, saved some money, accumulated some assets, it could be really great to call in a professional to kind of help you construct a financial plan. If you've never done financial planning, I welcome you could reach out to myself, reach out to another advisor, that kind of thing. For someone who's perhaps at the beginning of, let's say, a savings spectrum, right? You've never saved, you've never invested, you're not really sure how. I would say anyone can stick their toe in the water. Tons of really great apps out there. One of my favorites for beginners is called Acorns.
Awesome.
It rounds up, let's say you buy a cup of coffee, and it's $4.50. It'll take the 50 cents, put it in an investment account, and you can get your feet wet with investing with your spare change.
Right.
Anything like
and
that.
You're taking some positive action that's doable, that can prove to you that these are steps that you can take and you can build on that.
Absolutely.
How awesome is that?
Absolutely. So I think there are different things that people at each stage can use. I would say stick your toe in the water, know your numbers. Money is power. Make your money work for you. And it doesn't have to be hard. And it doesn't have to be boring. It can feel good. It can be fun. Yeah. We can tie it to your goals, your dreams, your wishes. So it doesn't have to be, very bland. What is my stock return going to be? It's going to be, what are my big, audacious goals? And is there a way that I could use my money as a positive tool
to reach those goals? Hi, Alina. Alina's watching. To reach those goals, to make an impact, to make a difference. And you asked a really great question earlier. You were like, what does money mean to you?
What does money mean to you? Yeah. That's one of my favorite questions.
Yeah.
I think it gives us a lot of insight, right? Yeah. Everybody's a little bit different, and I think that's a really great question for the audience to kind of ask themselves. What does money mean to me?
Yeah. And I think also, I want to say this, the benefit of working with a professional, whether it be with finances or in mental health, just across the board, like, we're not good at everything. Like, we're not meant to be experts in everything that we encounter in life. Right?
Exactly. If I broke my leg, I could probably get a couple of sticks and tape it, and it might heal okay. But I probably want to go to someone who deals with things like that.
Yeah. And definitely our finances is one of those areas that it's okay to get some support.
It is.
It's good to get support. It's good to get a different perspective.
And I think it's important that you find someone who has that kind of educational component, right?
Yeah.
So especially if you're new to this, I think it's important that, not to say that you need them to educate you so you know everything,
right,
but you should understand what you're investing in, and someone who can walk you through that and help you become more comfortable with it and help you understand equities versus fixed income. So you've got enough knowledge to kind of know. You know enough to know that you're, doing the right thing.
Right. That fits with your goals.
Right.
And the big picture of what money means.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any other tips that you would like to share?
Gosh, that's such a great question.
Yeah.
So I think we talked a little bit about Acorn. If you haven't started saving for retirement, do that. Take power of your finances just by seeing where you're at. And I think the other thing is probably think about where you really want to be.
Yeah.
What are some of the big things that you want to accomplish? When do you want to accomplish them? It may be buying a vacation home. Maybe it's paying down credit card debt. Mm-hmm. But just setting goals. Mm-hmm. I think when we set goals for ourselves, we can have a positive impact. So set some financial goals, and don't be intimidated to reach out to a financial professional.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming or daunting.
Yeah. And I think it's like getting down to those basics. Start by getting a look at the numbers in the account. Start by getting a look at, where money is owed.
Right.
Start with a budget.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
There are tons of resources with that. If you're not, I'm one of those people that numbers take a little bit of extra effort. So I need some extra support, like they make my brain fuzzy. But, reach out to a friend who is skilled with numbers, or reach out to someone
absolutely
who has that skill set, right?
Yes, I think that those are great tips. And as a matter of fact, I was just thinking, I have, 10 of my favorite kind of financial resources that anyone can use. So anyone who's watching this live,
awesome.
I'll stick my email in there.
Yes.
If you want links to 10 free resources anyone can use, you can email me. You can get the list of resources.
Awesome. Thank you for coming and having this conversation. It's so important. So much of what we're hoping to do is spark conversation about wellness and well-being, and our financial lives are certainly
money plays a big part in that, right?
Yeah,
it pays for our health care. It decreases our stress or increases our stress depending. So health and wealth are inextricably linked.
Thank you. It's always so great to
Thank
spend
you
time
for
with
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, and thank you for your offer for resources for our community. So we are going to link Danyell's contact information and reach out to her, and she's awesome. So
thank you.
You guys have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. Roll Tide.